So in five, four, three, two, one,
And we back.
and we back, and we back, and we back, and we back, and we back. Yeah!
And we
Thinking
back.
Out Loud podcast. It's your boy yLip. You know who I am. You know what this is. TOLPcast.com,
And we
where you
back.
can catch it
And
all.
we
Come
back.
get it.
And we
Come
back.
get you some of this good work that we put in. Another week, another Tuesday, another Talk That Talk Tuesday. So with that being said, I gotta thank Mrs.LIP for gracing us with her presence. Mrs.LIP, how are you feeling today? And I hope it's blessed and highly favored. But you let
It
us
is.
know.
It is blessed and highly favored. It is. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing. So we on one accord. We want
Mhm.
to give a shout out, and this is the section of the show I like to just open it up and be thankful. Be thankful. We want to give a shout out right now to who am I pissed at, or who do I have a grievance with? I actually don't have anybody to shout out today. Shout out y'all, the people, on a genuine shout out. Appreciate everybody for being a part of what we trying to do and keeping the shit pushing. So another congratulations to y'all. Babe, do you have a shout out? Anybody you want to throw out there? Thank you.
Just grateful and blessed that I get to do what I get to do every day, and for God putting us in a place to live our truth and be ourselves.
Um, all right, boom. Let's jump straight into the shits. First and foremost, I want to jump into the conversation about, and this is not a hip hop podcast, this is not a music podcast, but there is something happening right now in the industry that is pertinent to the culture. It's
Yeah.
what's beef? What is beef? And what is happening in the hip hop community when it comes to what beef is? In my opinion, and I'm gonna just throw it out there. This is a lob to you. If you want to alley oop off of it, you can. If you want to brick it, you can do that too. But
Okay.
Drake versus Pusha. Now, I would have said, given the recent music that has been released, there was a back and forth where Infrared on Pusha T's new album was a was basically a stab, a jab, a
Hmm.
targeted shot at the homie Drake. So
Yeah.
we got to give him the point for that. That was bold. It was solid.
Well,
It made
it
sense.
almost it almost felt like he came out of nowhere with it.
It,
We
it
knew something was coming. I don't know if we knew that was coming.
You're right. We didn't know for sure, but there is history of them having a grievance. I apologize, y'all. I'm looking outside and there's a kitty cat that is
Uh
meowing at me. Yeah, it's Sheba's boyfriend trying to holler at his girl. Sheba is our cat, our black cat. And she got a little boyfriend that be coming through the patio trying to get it in. So we're gonna drop a bomb for him because the nigga ain't getting
oh.
in tonight.
Really?
Nope. So, so yeah, it was a long time coming. There was a couple songs that have been made in the past. Two Birds, One Stone by Drake. There was a couple jabs back and forth that were very subliminal. No names dropped. However, we know when it comes to ghostwriting, we know that when it comes to the Quentin Miller shit and all that, Push is talking directly to Drake. He says something along the lines of, you know, if it's written by Q or if Q wrote it or something. We know who Q is. It's Quentin Miller. He's doing a little two step with Drake. Drake took the two step and said, "I want to do the motherfucking Mamba, bitch. We gonna do the Mamba, and I'm gonna call you out by name and go at you." So Drake did his thing on the Duppy freestyle. So the Duppy freestyle gets a bomb. Why? Because it was entertaining. Because why? Because a part of hip hop, beef is very, very deep seated in the culture. Like we've had beefs. We enjoy them as listeners. We enjoy people getting out their grievances.
Historical beefs that have shaped the culture of hip hop. Like, you
Correct.
can't bring up Biggie without bringing up Tupac. I mean that's the
Biggie,
historic king
Big,
of all king beefs. We
Big,
know it.
Biggie and Big and Pac, 50 and Game, 50 and Ja Rule, 50 and Fat Joe, 50 and Cameron. Like, we got so
He
many
made a career out of
references.
it.
We got so many references. So we enjoy this shit as listeners. We enjoy it because
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
competitive. So
And
you
when this was ramping up, I was so excited about it. I couldn't wait. I was like, finally, I feel like we've got a beef of this at least current generation of hip hop. I was like, this is gonna be great. I was really excited.
absolutely. So it was exciting to see Drake once again get involved in a beef because we know what happened with the whole Meek Mill situation.
Yeah.
Bodied, bodied,
Really, real quick. Real quick.
bodied, back to back. Was nominated for a Grammy. I ain't never seen a diss track on an artist get nominated for a goddamn Grammy. So that's how hard it was, and that's how meticulous Drake is, in my opinion. He not only will make a diss track, but he'll make it so hot that you could just listen to the song and be like, "Oh, this shit go in." Oh, is that a world tour or your girls tour? What? Tell me what's going on. Now, here's where we draw the line. Before we get into the story of Adidon, we got to talk about the fact that the beefs that have happened in the past, at least from our recollection, have gone specifically against artists versus artists. You can talk about them, you can talk about the shit they're affiliated with, but you don't really take the gloves off, put, what's the shit that they put on the fingers? You don't put on the what's that thing, the iron thing they put on the fingers, brass knuckles. You don't put
Oh,
on the brass knuckles and then put the glove on, which is what Pusha T did with the story of Adidon. Pusha
yeah.
T put the damn, I just said it. What was it again? The brass
Right.
knuckles.
Yeah.
He put the brass knuckles on, put it inside the glove, and it hit Drake on the "your mama's in last place." Your dad did such a dad thing, left you at 5. Your baby mama's a porn star. You hiding a kid. You playing border patrol, keeping him in Canada so don't nobody in America see or know about him. And he
Mhm.
basically, what culminated from that diss track was a lot of personal jabs that had nothing to do with music. They had nothing to do with the actual spirit of beef, except for the
Right.
fact that it was triggered by Drake bringing up the name of Pusha's
Just the name.
fiance.
Just the
So
name.
just the name. He
Just the
said,
name. That's it.
make it ring on you like Virginia Williams, and that's your fiance, and you put a ring on it, and she obviously accepted. So he just spoke a
Yeah.
factual statement about you. He could have been even celebrating. He could have been like, "That's borderline of congratulations. You got your girl Virginia Williams. That's your queen." But when
Right.
Pusha came back with the story of Adidon, and he talked about well, let's talk about your Beyonce. And then basically to paraphrase, she's a whore, she's a porn star, your kids being hidden, you saving them for an Adidas clothing rollout, all this other shit. Your mom was in last place, couldn't keep a man. Your dad left, you got him parading around like a clown in Steve Harvey suits, which, by the way, I don't know why Steve Harvey had to get dragged into this either. Shout out to Steve Harvey. He do his thing with the
Steve Harvey
Family
should have
Feud.
never made those suits. Those suits are terrible.
Anyway, he been doing his thing, rocking them suits since the Steve Harvey show. So
Oh, we know it.
he stays in his lane, he sticks to what he knows. But the issue is when you get into the part of the diss that starts going at, even more so than family, you're talking about people who are catching stray bullets, like OVO 40, a producer, longtime friend of Drake, who has unfortunately MS, multiple sclerosis. It's a degenerative disease, and he is suffering through that. It's a chronic illness, and there's nothing really much more that can be said other than prayers up for him. But anything other than that is just completely out of line. And I think that that's where we get into a conversation starting off. Do you think that Pusha T's diss went over the line?
Oh my gosh. It obliterated the line. It dropped an atomic bomb on the line. Not only did he go over the line, he went like a million feet, bazillion, like to the moon past the line. And I think even as lovers of hip hop, we can appreciate that he did his research and all that. But when it comes down to it, like you're going well past the expectations of a hip hop beef. Like you're getting
Absolutely.
far, far too personal.
Yep.
Um, And while Drake didn't need to bring up his fiance, and Push has already said that was the catalyst of him kind of, dropping all the extra bombs that he did, um, it wasn't to the degree. Like it wasn't a fair response.
I agree.
Um, it was like I said, I'm a fan, and I was looking forward to it. I was like, I can't wait. I was hoping that it would be more of a conversation than, of course, the previous beef, and clearly it has been. But I wasn't expecting it to take this turn. I feel like Pusha was, in all honesty, unfair. I know there's not
Oh
a whole
yeah,
lot of rules to this beef stuff, but like
this
he
beef
just he
stuff.
just he just put Drake in a really really bad position.
He did, and I want to shout out the homie, my bro, big homie Crack Diesel said, if you slap someone, you can't get mad if they punch you. Is that true? Do you agree with that?
That wasn't a punch though. Like it was like he slapped him and then he like Push like blew a hole in his chest. It's not even comparable.
With a
It was
Ruger?
nowhere near close. Probably worse, honestly. Like
Oh,
it's
grenade! He threw a grenade launcher back at him, like
pretty
bitch,
much
die.
like he slapped him and you handed him a grenade. Like that's it's not even a fair fight at that point because you it's like he slapped him and Push was like, okay, fine, gloves off. And it's like, no, it doesn't need to be that. We can still keep this on wax. We can still, take these jabs at each other. And ultimately, there would have been a winner and a loser in this thing. But I feel like he's bringing more potential losers on Drake's side to people that aren't even part of this.
Now let's be clear, and I just want to be fair across the board for all my hip hop heads and my music aficionados like Crack Diesel in the building. The plug is back in America. Check out that podcast that my man has on SoundCloud, iTunes, and anywhere else you can find it. Crack. With that being said, I have to agree with you on the perspective that we got to keep the shit fair and balanced. And I ain't trying to dick ride Fox News' claim to fame, but we got to be fair and balanced with it. We got to because at the end of the day, it was on wax about a person. He was going at Push, talking about him as a person, talking about, more so actually than Push. He was actually addressing a lot of issues with Kanye, which I feel was totally like out of bounds. Like,
Sure,
bro,
yeah.
bro, where we at? Like, did Kanye say or do something to you that bothered you? Because did you not get the writing credits for Father Stretch Our Hands or whatever the fuck like you wrote for him? Like, I feel like to be quite honest, Push doesn't have enough dirt out there for you to gather to muster up a 3 minute diss. So he spent
True.
2 minutes on Kanye and 1 minute talking about Pusha. Basically, that's your boss. That's the
Right.
owner of the label.
Right.
You can be the president.
And
This
it's not
man
even
owns the
just that
label.
that's your boss. He's like, I wrote for your boss. So you're going to come at me about being written for, but I wrote for your boss. This
Right.
person
Your
who's
father
over
came to
you.
me. Your
Right,
father came to me
exactly.
for
And
help.
I thought that was completely fair because the point of it was you can't like your camp does it too, basically is what he's saying. You can't come at
Ooh.
me for not being a genuine artist, a genuine rapper when it's happening on your side as well. So I was completely fine with that. I was completely down with it. And in all honesty, to a degree, I was like, Kanye, how you gonna leave your boy out here like this, and you know that this is happening on your
Ah.
side? So, I mean, I thought it was still completely within bounds with with
Yikes.
those lines, with that line of
Yikes.
music. But at this point,
But your key
I
word
don't.
was he kept it with music. He kept it with a
Right,
factual
exactly.
statement about music. He said, "How can you get mad at me?" Like even the way the tone of the delivery was. He started off. I think he said, "Okay, so," and then like that sets a tone when you start a
Like, all right.
conversation. Like,
Be like,
okay, so
let's tell the whole story, basically.
let's do a deep dive into
Yeah.
your issues with ghostwriting. I ghost wrote for the man that you follow behind that you're older than, and yeah, we can negotiate the fact that he may be older than him by a couple years, but the fact of the matter is, if you come at me, let's try to make it relative. If you come at me for being a big boy, a husky champion, a plus size model, J-Lip,
What?
and then that's what I am, baby. You know how I gets down. I'm with the shits. Horns. So with that being said, if you come at me for being a plus size male model, and then I come back at you and be like, but wait, you're in Weight Watchers. you're facing morbid obesity. Like, you, how can you ever, like, I'm not with that shit. Like,
Yeah.
that's hypocritical. So
Right. Exactly.
if you're not for the ghostwriting, then you're not for your mans. And if you're not for your mans, then
Pretty
who
much
are
you
you
was
for?
saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And I mean,
let's.
and that's beef. That's what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. It's exposing the inconsistencies, and it's saying like your camp's no better than mine, and you can't come at me about this because here's what I have on you. And I think that is what it's supposed to be. And you're supposed to keep it on wax. That's it. And that's what it was about. It was about the music.
I agree with that. And I want to shout out again. Crack said, I just feel like it's a thin line that people tread with beefs. Because I wasn't with Drake basically getting at Cuddy about his mental issues, which is a great point,
Yeah.
when he himself said he was suicidal at the time. Let's take a step back and have some respect for real life issues. And I feel like that was wrong. That was foul of Drake to do what he did with the Cuddy situation, because Cuddy's obviously been taken out of the game temporarily when it comes to what he's dealing with in his personal life. So to make fun or to poke holes at that man based off of something that's like some life or death shit, like people kill themselves, suicide is real,
Right.
depression
Yeah.
is real, anxiety is real.
And that's been
That
a
was
theme of
wrong.
his music since he started making music.
It was absolutely. So I feel like, to Craig's point, that's completely correct. He did agree with the last couple of statements, and then also brought up the fact that Drake ain't have to get involved. That was Lil Wayne's smoke. Laugh my ass off. Now let me address this. Okay, the smoke gets inhaled by whoever is in the vicinity of the fire. So if you want the smoke, then you come near the bonfire because it's burning, bitch. We out here on the beach, away from the shore, and the smoke is in the air. Do you want the smoke? Yes or no? So, with that being said, we gotta get into the fact of what hurt me the most, what I feel like would be the most egregious moment of this beef situation, which is bringing up OVO 40. So, we talked about the fact of multiple sclerosis. We talked about the fact that that man is, unfortunately, in layman's terms, dying slowly.
Yeah.
That was the part of the song that hit me harder than the whole "your mom's in last place." Hell, we all know somebody that has a child with a man who didn't stick around. That's
Right.
my life, you know.
Yeah.
So that's real, but it doesn't hit me because I've lived it. Same thing
Yeah.
with, oh, you know, you and your dad cool, you parading him around. Yeah, my dad and I, we got, back cool at a later age, and we did what we did. Like, all of that is like, okay, this is normal. This is a part of black culture, in my opinion. Not to say that it's a right thing, but to say that it's a
Sure.
real thing. But when
Right.
you talk about somebody dying over the damn keyboard, he said 40 hunched over looking like he 80. I was like, ah, then he said, tick, tick, tick. How long that man got to live? Woo! 666. Oh, I was like, Lord Jesus, this is too far.
It just
Stop
made
it!
me cringe. It made me cringe because I'm like, now you're, not to use this overused term, but it's the only thing that comes to mind. I was like, now you're being a bully. This man is
No, absolutely.
literally dying.
That's bully mentality, because
It really
there's
is.
nothing that can be done about it. And I go back to the
Right.
fat boy statement again. Somebody could say you fat, and I could be like, well, I could lose this weight, but this man can't get over multiple sclerosis. Like,
Right.
when it comes to stuff you can change about yourself, that's fair game to me. But when it
Yeah.
comes to like the
Yeah.
color of your skin, your sexual orientation, or your gender preference, all that stuff, that to me is kind of like, we got to draw a line here, because it's not like I
Yeah.
can do shit about it. I'm born this way. You know what I'm saying? So with that
Definitely.
with that being said, people are calling this beef a win right now for Pusha T. I am calling it a draw. And the
Ugh.
reason why I'm calling it a draw is because the OG, the legend, hold on, bomb, the OG, bomb, the legend, bomb, Jay Prince, CEO of Rap A Lot Records, 1986 got into the game, put on with his brother, Sir Rap A Lot. He is the person who intervened and basically said, you know what, let me holler at the homies, because this is getting too far. So he reached out to Kanye. He reached out to Drake and he heard both sides of what was the feeling. Kanye said, I'm all about love, peace, and positivity. I don't want the smoke. Kanye walked out the smoking room. He didn't want none of that cigar. But
Mhm.
when he went to Drake, Drake said, Bro, here are the ingredients I have for this smoky dish. I got some smoky andouille sausage I'm about to serve with a side of pasta sauce to this nigga Pusha T. It's gonna be ridiculous, it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna destroy. I feel like when Jay Prince, knowing who he is and knowing his impact in the industry, specifically with music, but also explicitly with the streets, knowing that he has both sides of the coin as his perspective and his experience, he reached out and said, Bro, this is too much. I think he mentioned multiple times in all the interviews I've watched, from The Breakfast Club, Sway in the Morning to Hot 97, he said, Don't dive into the pig pen and throw around
Mm.
slop, because that's where Pusha T is at in his opinion.
Yep.
He's a pig in a
Absolutely.
pig pen just throwing slop at this point. It ain't even about bars no more. It's just, what dirt do I have on you that I can expose you for? And if you jump into that pig pen, you're gonna turn into a hog. And if you turn into a hog, you're gonna get slaughtered. Don't do it. So I'm not putting it out there as my own thoughts. Shout out to the homies in the thread, my bro Rose, the homie Rob D, fucking Smith, who was supposed to be on this damn podcast. Smith, we got an issue. I'm gonna address that. So let me drop a boo on you. I accidentally hit that applause again. Damn, I gotta switch these buttons. Um, Smith was supposed to be on here to talk about this shit, and he ain't. So that nigga gets an applause for my level of frustration. So moving forward with this conversation, I feel like Jay Prince did the right thing. Nobody wants to see Drake jump out of character and get that disrespectful with what we think, from my brethren, from the conversations that we've had, of the ammunition, of the hollow tips that Drake had on Kanye West. And I say Kanye because, again, Pusha is flawless. But there is a speculation, there's a certain thought that maybe one of the bars could have been about Drake potentially having some type of relational experience with wifey, with your Beyonce, with Kim Kardashian, who we know from the Kardashian clan has historically had a negative or a poor history when it comes to their sexual exploits. We'll keep it at that. So, with that being said, in your opinion, Mrs.LIP, if Drake dropped a diss, or had a diss rather, and he told you that one of the major, I was going to say blaws, one of the major flaws slash bars about Kanye in this diss was going to be the fact that he had been with, biblically been with, Kim. Well, fuck it. This is
Luckily.
thinking out loud. He been fucking Kim Kardashian. He might be the baby daddy. If he was to flip the whole father situation and be like, you know what, I am a dad, but I got more than one because I've been with the mother of your son. If he was to hit him with that, what would you think?
Uh, um, like you said, I think the analogy that you made was great. Like he'd have to get down in the pen with Push, and that is not the Drake that we want to see. I don't think that's the Drake that anybody wants to see. Drake, the Drake that I know and appreciate, have been listening to since college. He's lyrical and he tells stories and he, makes you dance, and it's fun, and he's extremely talented. And I think there's a level of talent that he'll have to sacrifice to win this beef.
But he
And
can't win if somebody intervenes on his
no,
behalf.
I completely agree, and I don't think it's a draw. I think it's a stalemate at this point
What's
because
the
if Drake
difference
was
between a stalemate and a draw?
a draw, is nobody's won. A stalemate is it
No,
just
nobody's
disintegrates.
won.
It's no. I don't think it's so much that nobody's won. It's like you're stuck. You're stuck. There can't be any movement here. There's no agreement that we are just walking away from this.
So you're
It's
looking at it
just
from a chess
living in that.
perspective.
Yeah, it's just living in that medium. Is just floating around in that space. This just kind of dissolves. So it's not a draw. I don't believe a draw is we shake hands and we walk away, and that's
See,
not what's happening here.
and the problem with that, and I know that people are gonna hate me for it, but I agree that it's well, I believe it's a draw. No one agrees with me. That's cool. Fuck it. It's thinking out loud. However, I believe it's a draw because once Jay Prince with his level of influence, it would almost be as if Jay Z intervened and said, you know what, y'all, we need to chill, we need to focus on uplifting and blah 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 blah. Whatever shit needs to be said for everybody to be like, you know what, this is on some silly shit. We got other things to worry about. But he still intervened. And so people are looking at that, and we didn't even get into the whole blackface conversation, which we're about to, but we didn't even get into the blackface conversation. So you got Jay Prince jumping in saying, I told Drake, fall back, this is not you. This is not what you built on. We're going to keep you alive based off of how people expect you to behave. And if we got to go back to the back to back references, oh, not again. I don't want to have to do this ever again. Not even when she tell you that we better as friends. Like, he went at wifey in that regard, but it was public knowledge. It's like
Right.
no
It's not
one
like he
knew.
unearthed something. It's not like he was super underhanded about anything. It was public knowledge. And he's also talking about another artist within his own camp. Like it wasn't.
Yep. And I'm gonna say
Yeah.
this, even
It's
as a hip
still.
hop
It was
head,
still about the music. It was still, and that's the difference. It was still about the music. They were all still talking about musicians throughout that entire beat.
and in my opinion, my personal opinion, I wouldn't have even known about Pusha T's engagement, the whole Virginia line. Like, to me, that wasn't again derogatory. That's what Jay
No.
Prince kept saying. He was like, Pusha got derogatory with the family, talking about your mother's always in
I
last
feel like
place.
he was wait. I feel like he was waiting for the
Yeah, oh
opportunity.
yeah, it
Like
was bait. Oh, infrared was bait.
absolutely.
Infrared was
Yeah.
bait. And I believe that Drake bit the bait, and he went hard on Duppy, but Pusha went Thanos hard. Like, Pusha snapped his fingers, and niggas started disappearing into dust. And that's just how I feel. So
Yeah.
when your family and your best friend get turned into dust, and you Iron Man out here, you out here representing for them, you gonna go to the deepest, darkest place possible to say what
Yeah.
has to be said to demolish this nigga. And the only
And I
way
don't
that you
think, and
can
I
do
think
it,
ultimately that's not what we really want our artists to do.
well, we don't want
Like
that
we
from
want,
Drake. We don't
we
want that
want
from
you to,
Drake. Because let's
right.
not forget. Let's never forget. Jay Z, super ugly, talked about leaving condoms on the baby seat of Nas's child's car seat. We're not gonna forget about the fact that people in the past in beefs have had casualties that were unsolicited, but they were a part of the program and it had to be done. So we're not going to pretend that it has never happened in the past where innocent bystanders caught a couple hot ones and they had to, ooh, shit, I didn't, that wasn't for me, but I got to deal with this pain. Crack in the building, talking like, I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to see Drake get dirty, fam. He said, I want you in that pig pen, horns. I want to see him in that pig pen. I wanted that smoke, is what Crack saying. Push across the line, and I wanted Drake to get there too. That's why the beef
Well,
feel
we all wanted a
unfinished.
response. We definitely all wanted a response, but I mean, if you're gonna go against what Push said in, I just can't imagine what. Well, I mean, we've already talked about what it might have been,
Right?
but like the ramifications of something like that for them to continue to go back and forth and continue to go lower and lower and lower, like it couldn't. There would come a point where it wasn't even about music
And
anymore,
Crack
and
brought
I
up
think that
another.
was
Go ahead. I'm sorry, babe.
no. Go ahead.
And Crack brought up another point. One of y'all niggas got sickle cell or something. That was a diss that was done on Prodigy. God rest the dead. That was my man I told you about with the egg situation in the hospital. Like, legit. Rest in peace. Rest in heaven. Rest in power to the OG Prodigy. But they brought up his terminal illness as well. Somebody would have got hurt, Crack says. I believe that. I don't believe that it would have
Yeah.
been Drake. I don't believe it would have been Pusha T. But I believe somebody, a part of one of their respective camps, would have got touched for the words that was being spewed about said family members and about said friends. Because
Yeah.
it can't if you can't go no lower than your man's is dying, ha ha, ha ha. Your man's is OVO 40 hunched over like he 80. Ah, tick tick tick. That you can't make the noise of the little hospital monitor. You can't do that, sir. You can't. And then expect for it not to go to, okay, you know what? I can't really say shit about you, but your boss's girl I ran through like a subway train in New York.
All right, now
And
you putting words in his mouth. Now
I'm
hold
just
on.
saying that's a speculation. That's a speculation. So, and I ain't never been on the subway, so I don't know how it runs, if it's pleasant, if it's
Oh,
enjoyable. But with that being said, we're going to end it tonight on time, 30 minutes, in and out. Outro time for your boy. Oh, I love that sound. I love it when oh my God, that rock star beat is so smooth. And with that being said, it's Thinking Out Loud Podcast, TOLPcast.com. It's your boy yLip. You know who I am. You know what this is. You know where I be. And Mrs.LIP, do you have anything to add? Where can they find you at tonight?
you can find me tonight, 7 o'clock on Instagram at TL Yarn Crafts.
All right, and that's forever at TL Yarn Crafts, right?
Always, every day,
Always.
every day.
Oh yeah, I feel the vibe. And we had so
We
much
out.
other stuff to talk about, but we gonna go ahead and just end it like this. I tricked your ass. See, I got you. You didn't give me that kiss last week.
I'm trying to do it right.
Turn your head to the left. All right, that's me. Now scoot over. Give me a little kiss. A little bit more. No, a little bit
No,
more.
that's it.
Ah,
That's it. That's all you get.
And we'll see y'all next Tuesday. And it'll be on YouTube and SoundCloud for the audio and the video. And we out.
You
Peace.
never get that right.
Love y'all, man. Love y'all. We will never get it right. It will take away from the joy of the show, babe. Come on now. You know what this is. It's Thinking Out Loud. Shit. All right. Anyway, good show as usual. We got that from Crack, but the music went off, so this is mad awkward. So we just gonna end this shit right now. Goodbye,
Yeah,
y'all.
we're still on.
It's still, I don't know. Bye.
Cut it off.
All right, nigga, damn. Thinking Out Loud. We out.